Hello everyone, my name is Lowko, and today we're gonna be talking about the future of Overwatch. It has been less than a month since the game first came out, and I know it sounds a little bit silly, but it's seriously only been a couple of weeks. However, we've seen several forum posts as well as several videos of the game director Jeff Kaplan explaining the future of Overwatch. There's a couple of features that I am personally really excited for. We're gonna definitely be talking about those, but I also want to address a couple of the concerns that I'm personally having, and hopefully this will both inform some of you, as well as, hopefully spark up a friendly discussion in the comments down below. Last week, the official Overwatch Twitter posted that they had officially activated 10 million players. That is a ridiculous amount of players for a game that was only released at that point for about 3 weeks. But more importantly, something that I personally was really excited to see, and I don't mean to be hating or anything, but Overwatch has overtaken League of Legends in Korean PC banks. And the reason why that is so exciting is not because I hate League of Legends or whatever, but because it is the very first game that managed to do that in 4 years. And obviously there's been a lot of hype, there's been a lot of marketing, and there's gonna be a ton of people checking out the game for the first time. This surely has to do with the changes that recently happened to League of Legends in particular as well. However, it's awesome to see that Overwatch is doing so extremely well in a scene that is so very well developed already. Long story short, Overwatch has been pulling in some insane numbers. It's already looking to be one of the most sold games of the year, and while it being a Blizzard title can only mean that in the upcoming years the game will become even better and potentially even more successful. And with that, let's talk about one of the most important features that the game is currently very much so lacking. The first thing that will be released, and the original timestamp that they gave for it is gonna be late June, is gonna be competitive play. It seems that they've completely reworked competitive play and the ranked mode compared to what it was like in the beta, and it almost sounds like they've started it from the ground up once again. Now, they did mention that they considered putting it on the public test realm so it can first be tested before it gets released to the actual game. But either way, that is something that is gonna be absolutely crucial to the game. Quick match is gonna be the default mess around mode, but competitive is gonna be serious, focused effort to try and obtain the highest rank possible. Now, ranked mode obviously means that you're gonna either group up with a couple of friends or go by yourself, and you go up against another ranked team as well. At which point you will earn points when you win, and you lose points when you lose, and eventually, hopefully you're gonna be progressing through the different tiers by becoming a better player. Now, personally, I'm very competitive, so quick match is definitely a ton of fun, but I am ready for some competitive myself. Now, competitive play is the main short-term goal that they have. However, there's obviously more things they've announced. So, for example, we're gonna get more cosmetics, we're gonna get more heroes, we're gonna get new maps. I don't think anyone is gonna be complaining about any of that. However, there are a few concerns that I personally have, and I'm curious to hear your thoughts on this as well. Currently, there are 21 heroes in the game, and obviously they plan on adding more to that. I don't think adding new maps is gonna bring any kind of issues, but I can imagine that, let's say in a couple years from now, we're gonna have like 40, 50, or maybe even more heroes. And while adding extra heroes to something like a MOBA doesn't really add very much to the game because you can't hero switch, in Overwatch I can imagine this becomes kind of tricky. I'm a little bit worried that if you add, say, 50 heroes to the game, the actual, uniqueness of each and every hero is gonna be a little bit diluted. For example, if I currently see Bastion in the game, I can go ahead and switch into Vara and easily take him out. However, if you're up against a really good team, they're gonna already consider that you're gonna be switching into a Vara, and they will be running with a Widowmaker instead. At a high level of play, you're gonna have to make sure that you obviously play against your opponents, but also play against the strategy that your opponents could potentially be going for. And I can imagine that if you have a lot of heroes in the game, that strategic aspect of the game can become a little bit less interesting. Now, obviously, we haven't been told everything, and we don't know exactly what Blizzard has planned. All we know is that they're gonna be adding new heroes in, but it's one of the things that I was just curious about to hear your thoughts on. Do you think it's gonna be a big deal if they add in a lot new heroes, or do you think that's gonna be just fine? For those of you, by the way, that haven't heard about it yet, there's been a lot of rumors of a hero known by the name of Sombra. She's gonna be a support sniper type hero, and potentially she can be walking around the battlefield stealthed? We don't know the specifics about her yet, but I think she's gonna be the first upcoming hero. Now, as far as maps go, it will be awesome to see a little bit more variety, and that's exactly what they have been testing. Jeff Kaplan mentioned that they're currently prototyping a lot of different kinds of maps, and that some will be scrapped and that some will actually make it to the release of the game. But either way, they seem to have plans to add new heroes to the game as well as new maps to the game until early 2017 at least, which means that we got a ton of new content coming up. One other thing that I wanted to bring up real quick is gonna be esports. Now, it is very clear that the Overwatch team is focusing on a casual game. And that's a good thing. That is definitely a good thing because that will draw in a lot of people. But one of the things that I'm personally really excited for whenever a new competitive game gets released is gonna be esports. It's just something that I personally really enjoy watching. And with that, I wanted to be talking real quick about the observer mode as well as the speed of the game. So the current observer mode in the game is pretty reasonable. However, they've mentioned they're gonna be improving that one a ton. And the main reason why that is absolutely necessary is that if you watch currently any kind of competitive Overwatch, it's honestly pretty difficult to follow. I mean, there's almost 100% uptime on about 12 players who are currently always switching between different heroes, and I'm curious how this will really develop as far as the competitive scene goes. The speed of the game is obviously very high, and it's very difficult to judge individual skill. I mean, say we watch some CSGO, right? We watch some Counter-Strike. It's very clear to see who is still alive, and it's still very obvious what the objective is gonna be, even though you may not understand the maps or the strategy of each player. When watching Overwatch, however, you need to be aware of so many things that I find it rather difficult to follow, even though I play this game a ton. I'm sure the competitive scene will develop a lot more, but it's difficult to say whether or not it will be as popular as, for example, something like Hearthstone or CSGO or League of Legends or StarCraft 2 will be. I guess only time will tell, but I wonder, I'm just very curious. Do you think it's gonna be as popular as some of these big games? Or do you think it's gonna be something that will just be done on the side and won't be nearly as popular? For example, like the competitive arena in World of Warcraft. I got to be honest though, I think this game has been an absolute blast. I gotta applaud the Overwatch team for their transparency as well. I've seen several games try to do something similar, but I mean, the fact of the matter is that Jeff Kaplan, the game director once again, is constantly reaching out to the community and try and get their feedback. This kind of transparency is something that is absolutely incredible, as the community is not nearly guessing as much, and I think people are really appreciative of the fact that the feedback that they're giving the developers is immediately being picked up. It's something I'm genuinely impressed with, because obviously it's something that they could easily choose to completely hold to themselves, and I don't think anyone would be too surprised with that either. But as a content creator myself, it makes me happy to see that. I think the future of Overwatch is looking extremely positive. Once again, the game hasn't even been out for a month, and there's already some incredible changes that they've announced and some incredible additions to the game that they're planning right now. And while I do have a few concerns, I think all in all, we're looking at one of the best shooters of all time. Let me know what your thoughts are on the concerns that I had down below in the comment section of the video. And other than that, if you enjoyed watching, do make sure you hit that subscribe button for a ton more Overwatch content coming your way. I want to thank you all for watching. Have an amazing day. Do not forget to smile, and I'll see you in the next one.